Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again. This is part 2 of my reaction to the I Catch Killers podcast show, whereby former SAS dog handler, operator, patrol commander, Horse is here with part 2. And this is from Afghanistan, tours to fighting allegations. So let's jump back in.
Welcome back to part 2 of my chat with former SAS operative who goes by the nickname of Horse. If you listen to part 1, we spoke about Horse's time in the SAS and his involvement in the Afghanistan war. It was a pretty heavy discussion even for this podcast. In part 2, he talks about his life post-military. We talk about his time in Africa working with anti-poaching units, his work in the Ukraine providing security for volunteer doctors close to the front line. We also talked about the findings from the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide and his own battles with PTSD. I can't believe the things Horse has done. Have a listen to part 2 of my chat with him. Horse, welcome back to I Catch Killers.
Geez, mate, you had a nice little walk with the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs did their exercise. They seem to be sleeping now, so they've got it out. They've had their little rumble in the park, which was good. Spike needs the exercise.
Yes, don't we all?
We left part 1. We were talking about your time in Afghanistan and your service. When you finally decided to get out of the military, what brought that on?
I think I was starting to get tired. I had double hip replacement.
Yeah.
And that took the wind out of my sails a bit. Even though I was a patrol commander, but I felt myself getting a little bit stale. And with that impact there, I thought maybe it's time to leave, and I'm going to leave on a high note, because you don't want to be one of those old crusty guys that are bitter and twisted and just a dinosaur that's hanging around getting in everyone's way.
Yeah.
Great up to him, so you don't want to be one of those old crusty guys getting in everyone's way. Yeah, it's nice to hear, and sounds like, although it probably wasn't ideal, the double hip replacement probably didn't help, which I didn't know about until I think I heard him talk about it in the part 1 of my reaction to this here. But yeah, it's sort of, I suppose, like Moff had a few of the guys saying you're looking a bit slow. You'd be feeling it too by that stage. He's done a heck of a lot of work. He's got nothing to prove. Yeah, anyway.
So I thought I'll leave on a high note.
Okay.
And I went to the UAE doing a contract for their Special Operations Command.
Yep.
Under Mike Hindmarsh as a trainer.
Did you, when you left, did you feel like you left your tribe? Was it confronting for you? You've been such an intense period of time in your life.
Yeah. And so that was really it was quite a big day, and going. I think it was a soft landing though, because there was a lot of guys in the UAE that I knew, and so it was a similar tribe, and so it was what I call a soft landing.
Yeah.
But I think the significance of it really eluded me for many years, and even when I left the UAE, and my life sort of went down took a downward spiral. And it was just those imperceptible, slippery slope that, it's okay, I won't go training today, I won't do that. And then next thing you know, you're sitting in the gutter. Okay,
well, I want to talk about that. I'm sorry bringing it up, but we'll talk about.
I'm okay to speak about it. I think it's important to let people know that somebody that's been at the tip of the spear. Yeah, that can happen to them, so it can happen to anyone.
I think that's an important message. But before we talk about the
awesome Horse, definitely that'll be helpful for a lot of people, even those that haven't been in an SF space, even just conventional. It's helpful, and I think it could land and resonate with anybody, even though it may be very different in terms of work, lifestyle, etc. I'm sure there's some crossover there for somebody somewhere.
The mental well-being and emotional well-being. Just your 2 hip replacements, something that I don't think people appreciate too. The life of a soldier as an infantry or a special forces operator takes its toll physically on the body.
Yeah. So you're doing a lot of kilometres carrying some silly things. And I have no regrets either. I just want to make sure everyone knows that this is, and I'd do it all again. The only regret I've got is one of those movers. I didn't lead them enough, but joking. Maybe. So it's quite intense, and we've had the Australian Institute of Sport come over and have a look at us and say, you're expected to be dynamic and go over walls carrying heavy loads. You got to sprint, and then you've got to calm yourself down and find motor skills to take those shots, as well as complex or decision making in complex environments. And so having that smarts and that level headedness and peak in state management, plus then you've got to be expected to walk 10 kilometres into the target, 10 kilometres out under night vision goggles over uneven ground, looking for threats all the way.
And what sort of weight are we carrying when you're doing this with your armour and your weapons? And
it's easy 30 kilos.
Yeah.
So
easily 30 kilos plus, so whatever that is in pounds. But yeah, it's a lot of weight.
Once you start to get live ammo in there, so bombs, and you have comms fed, some water, a little bit of food, a little bit extra for him.
Yeah.
Helmets, body armor, pistol on there, some grenades, your med kit. A combat load really does add up.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't really appreciate,
he didn't even mention I might have missed it, but your technical equipment too. Having extra scopes, having any batteries that you might need for the equipment, comms equipment and stuff that you might be carrying. There's a lot, man. And I think you probably realize it when you're packing your kit before you go, but you sort of just forget about it because it just becomes the norm, and you just understand that this is all the gear that you need to carry. And then it's probably not until you're sitting down reflecting on, or in my case, listening to Horse talk about the stuff that they were carrying based on the question that was provided to them by the host, where your brain starts going, oh yeah, man, all right, we were carrying a heck of a lot of gear. And that's everybody. That's the big guys, that's the small guys, that's the middle-sized guys. Everybody's carrying a heck of a lot of weight.
Put a 30-kilo weight vest on, and this is what you're getting round and moving dynamic, as you said, and throwing yourself on the ground and jumping over things, and it has to take its toll.
Yeah, it does, and so like there's some guys that are lucky and their body just sort of eats it up, and then there's others that you just wear out, and I actually took the yoga up when I was doing the wrestling, and I kept that up throughout my military career, and I think that kept me on the playing field.
Savior for you.
Kept me on the playing field a lot longer than I normally would have. I think my career would have finished a bit sooner, and so that yin and the yang, that balancing, sort of helped me keep going.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so what year did you leave the military?
End of 2015.
Okay. And you did some work over in the UAE.
Yeah.
And that was a soft landing, in that you've gone from an environment you knew very well into an environment where you knew people. And I would imagine part of it is that your reputation was intact too. They knew your skill level. And it's not like you went from, at the tip of the spear in the Tier 1 Special Forces to an area where no one even appreciated the skill set that you had, but going to the UAE would have allowed you to still demonstrate those skills. Am I reading it right?
Yeah, and it's a similar environment.
Yeah.
You're just training different people.
Yeah. Okay, you talked about the spiral. What happened there?
Yeah, so I think I put my dog down in my working dog. I took him over with me in early 2017. He was just shy of 15, so he had a pretty good innings.
Okay.
The old boy.
Yeah.
And I've got out of there and then moved to Europe to be closer to my daughter in Sweden, and I wasn't getting to see her along with a bit of chronic pain from injuries and stuff like that, and the isolation. And then, started to smoke a little bit of meth and then a little bit more.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's it. And so I was just checking out, basically. Yeah. And then, I ended up doing a bit of an overnighter in jail over there.
Overseas?
Overseas. And that was in early 2020. So sitting there going, geez, how did I end up here? And then I sort of, I chose this, decisions. And so it was time to get my life back together. And so I had to leave Sweden. I was trying to be a father to my daughter, but I just became
How old was she at the time?
So it's she was 8.
Yeah, that's difficult.
14.
So you're ticking off all the factors that could come into play. You're
isolated,
different career,
culture, and a career,
injuries, loss of putting the dog down.
Yeah.
Just a spiral,
and you just don't recognise it. I'm over there to be with my daughter. I'm not getting to see her.
Yeah,
I'm applying for jobs, defence jobs with Saab and everything. I just couldn't get work. Wasn't getting any replies, and just gradually checked out. But I was working with autistic kids, which was a highlight. And then in between times, I would pick up some work in Africa.
What skill set did you bring with autistic kids? What was that? How did you get involved in that?
So when you think about it, all of the training of people that I've done with the military and the dog training, all of the principles applied across the board to kids and the autistic kids. And I think I brought my experiences from my childhood and how I was treated, because I was a bit different, and these kids are just a bit different.
Yeah.
I love what he's brought up there, and maybe he'll talk about it a bit more, but I think more than, in addition to his upbringing and his ADHD and him mentioning that he's a bit on the spectrum and stuff as well with his autism and that sort of stuff, or being on the spectrum, there's also the skills that you bring from the military, from the unit as well in particular. That hearts and minds aspect, when you're looking to build rapport and relationships and trust with local villagers, which includes people from all ages, the young children, the teenagers, the adults, the older generation, or the leaders, or the kaumatua, we might call and use the term here in New Zealand, for the different tribes and the iwis and stuff in and around the place. So it's there's a lot of stuff there. And the need to be able to communicate with people at different levels and in different positions, and being mindful and respectful of cultures, and not just cultures, but that could mean the differences in terms of how people interact with people. It took me a while to catch on to that. Thankfully, I didn't have to go to jail when I came out to click on to the skills that, and not to toot my own horn or any other soldier's horn or anything like that. But it just took me a while to understand and to develop the confidence that, man, there's stuff here that I've learned, that I've done, that applies here. So I was fortunate to work in the youth space, working with youth at risk for young children that have either learning disabilities or have come from hard upbringings and homes where they've been poorly treated, let's say. And then working with former prisoners that have been in and out of the system, working with guys that have been on life sentences for murder, working with our space where we never accepted pedophiles. So there was no sexual abusers of any kind, not pedophiles or not sexual offences against adults either. So those two categories were out, and those with real high or complex needs. So the real severe sort of mental schizophrenia, like our service wasn't set up for those types of people. But everything else, people from different gangs, people from non-gang affiliated, people that have done some pretty bad things, horrific things, people might say. And then working with that, it's like, well, what skills do you bring to that as a soldier, or as a former soldier, or as somebody that worked for a not-for-profit with the YMCA in the training department, or as a training manager, or working with youth, or then working in a food manufacturing place, or working as a trainer and assessor in mines, oil and gas. the list goes on of things that I've been fortunate enough to work in and do. And all of those things, you're developing and learning skills as well, and you bring that stuff with you. At least that's what I think, in my opinion, anyway. But a lot of it for me, I link back and can connect every job that I've had back to skills that I would have learnt in the military, both New Zealand Defence Force and Australian Defence Force, both conventional side of things and SF side of things. And it's something that I'm really grateful for. And I think anybody that has served as a soldier or first responder or anything, like, there are things in that line of work that you've learnt and that you apply just intrinsically, inherently in your day to day. And it took me a little bit of time to sit down and think about it and go, yeah, I can do this job. Here are some of the things that I can bring to. So I might not always be able to articulate it, whether that be in a job interview or whether that be in a written CV, but, having the opportunity to work in a variety of different places, well outside anything that I thought I would ever work in prior to getting into those places or being successful, has definitely taught me a lot and made me appreciate a lot more the instructors that I had in the military, the lessons that I learnt in the military, and how I've been able to apply those. So, yeah, anyway.
And so that's what I brought with it. And also, I was offering a strong male role model. And so there was also, we were just part of a larger school, the autistic space. And so I saw a lot of the young fellas gravitating towards me as well, because they're told that this is terrible. This is it's toxic masculinity, where this is just being a man and getting out there after it. You saw all the achievements, and I think that there's nothing bad in there.
No.
Society's telling them that they can't be that, and I think it resonated with those young boys, and so they would gravitate towards me, and actually taking that step back and watching them do dumb things. Now, we're being watched. No, keep going, fellas. We'll just go until somebody hurts themselves. Because why would you stop? It's all fun and games, and it is.
What brought you?
Sorry to cut him off again. I remember when, I think I mentioned in one of the first reactions to Horse, him and I were doing some work. He came on and was assisting me. So I had the privilege to be, I guess, OIC, overall in charge of the team building and leadership development aspect of what we were bringing to the Fremantle Dockers AFL team at the time. And I was lucky enough to have people like Horse. Mark Donaldson came on for a piece as well and gave a presentation to the lads, which they loved, and it was awesome. I enjoyed hearing it live first time as well, in regards to the VC event and all that sort of stuff of what he was awarded the VC Victoria Cross for. And there were some other guys who I won't name because I'm not sure. I think they might still be serving, but really privileged to have those guys along and them volunteering their time and helping out. And I remember Horse, there was a moment there where we said a few words, and I don't remember what I said. I can't remember what the other guys said, but I remember what Horse said, and he was speaking to these guys, because a lot of them are young too, right? Like 19, 20, early 20s, and he's speaking to them and just reminding them and letting them know. And he said to them, you guys are living people's dreams. Like, you're living your dream, but you're living other people's dreams too. So just keep moving forward and doing what they're doing. It was really nice to hear, but just a testament to Horse's humility and the way that he communicates, and that stuff I could see him as he's talking now about the young fellas that he's working with, or at this stage, how they would have and must have gravitated towards him, like he was saying there. Now, I'm not saying that all the Dockers gravitated towards him, but I remember those words of Horse speak, of what he spoke then, that element of it. And I remember looking at the players and the coaches that were there in the hall that we were in at the time when he was giving this speech, and everybody was eyes fixed, looking towards him, attentive, not distracted by anything, and just taking in everything that Horse was saying. And that's another one of my positive, lasting memories of Horse. He may not remember that, though he may not remember the specific words, like I don't remember the words that I shared, but I definitely remember the words that he was sharing, and it was awesome. It was cool to hear. I felt the same. I felt like, man, I'm living my dream, and I'm living other people's dreams as well. So
to that level where you're going to start smoking some ice.
Yeah, exactly. So just checking out.
Yeah. It was escapism, was it?
Escaping.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was just checking out. So obviously there's a bit of chronic pain, everything.
Yeah.
And that is all chronic stress. And so each one of them on their own, yeah, okay, so what's some bit, the analogy I use is, okay, you got a backpack and there's a rock of stress and there's another rock of stress and even just a couple, you can't carry that forever. It just keeps on grinding you down. And then you put another one. It just grinds you down and you don't even realize it. And yeah, I just started checking out and then, obviously got myself into a spot of bother.
You're hitting a low point there. How did you reconcile with yourself that you were going to turn this around, or you didn't care, or what? How low did you have to go?
Yeah, so I guess we all have our different low point, and mine I was probably fortunate that I still had the capacity to come back to Australia. And, but that is my low point. So some others are lower than others. And so I got a scholarship, came for the MBA and came back to Australia. And that was when COVID kicked in, came back and did the MBA. It sort of helped straighten me out. But there's still been a struggle ongoing for quite some time. And so you get on it, off again, on it, off again. And so
you can see it coming now, but you can identify if you are spiraling or slipping down?
Yeah, so I've recently had ankle fusion, now second one, because the first one I stuffed up was all of a sudden disabled, and then got on it again and stuffed the whole surgery up. So,
well done, horse.
Yeah, I know.
Some lessons are hard learned.
Yeah. You really, really need to learn it properly. And so I've had the second one, and so that incapacity was also a big factor, and the pain and what it's led me down this pace of psychedelics.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
because
I've heard that the psychedelics term from in the American space, and I think DJ Shipley has spoken a bit about that as well. I still don't understand or know what that's all about, but hopefully Horse will shed a bit more light on it and what that involves.
You've recently tried that over in Mexico.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. It puts you into this other space.
Yeah.
And so I went to, you got to go to Mexico. It's illegal here. It's illegal in the States. So, went over to San Diego, and then they tell a joke, they're smuggling an Australian into Mexico. It'd take you across the border and, 5 days. Do a Mexican, like a sweat lodge, like the Indian sweat lodge, which is extremely unpleasant. You learn to lean into the problem, so you're not taking any medicines in that, leaning into it and going, okay, that's putting me into, I'm always checking out. And then, gratitude for what your family did do, not what they didn't do. So they get a couple of good things out of that. Basically, I got confronted with just all of that dumb stuff that I've been doing, whenever you're being a bad person or non-drugs, for 20 hours. It just played that.
It opens your mind up to all the traumas, all the bad shit just coming.
And the thing is, we don't realise that we're functioning like that because it's just normal to us, and we think, oh, we're being normal with it. You walk into a room and people look at you weird, and I probably relate to it.
I can relate to it, and I think I've spoken about it, but I always know that I'm not quite right when I've been, and you might be out on the job, for days or whatever. You come home and you're totally wired. You've been making decisions as in, bang, I need this done, I need that done, and you're wired like that. Then you come home to a social environment or any environment, and everyone seems to be at a different pace.
Yep.
And I had enough. I worked out over the years that, they're not all out of step. It's me out of step, and then sort of take myself away from it. And you talked about yoga. I did meditation years ago, and very early when I got in the cops, and I didn't understand. I was just drawn to it, like a thing called Qigong. Drawn to it. didn't really get the benefits from it in the early years, but it's been a fallback position that I can go to when I do find myself spiraling, that I can just take myself away and slow things down.
Yeah, meditation is really does help.
This is cool. Very, very interesting. I'm just mindful of the time and that on here. I still don't fully get it. Psychedelics, I've heard the term. It's illegal in Australia, from what he said. It's illegal in the States, so you got to go to Mexico to do it. I think that may have been where DJ and them went to. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. DJ Shipley, the former DevGuru operator, and some of his team members. But it sounds like, when I listen to it, I think to myself, it sounds like, one of my sons would say, sounds like hippie stuff. So some of that, what is another term that gets used, is like all this woo-woo stuff. But I still don't get it. Is the psychedelics, is that a drug? It must be some sort of drug. Why it's illegal or banned or not allowed in Australia, or I assume here in New Zealand and in the States. But from what I've seen, and from the way DJ speaks about it, and clearly from what Horse is saying, it must be helpful in some way. Put you in another place. So was that cause you to start hallucinating or what? I have no idea. But not that I'm interested in doing it. I'm more just interested in trying to get an understanding of what do you do. So I heard the sweat piece, and then what do you do? Do you take a pill? Is it a drink? Is it an injection? What is it? I don't know. And then I don't know. Then you're confronted with all this stuff. It's interesting to me because I know, and just connecting to some of what both Horse and the host have shared, being wired differently and being out of step, it's took me years to realize that I was the one out of step. So these guys identifying that sooner is cool. For me, the outlet, and I suppose the sweat box, or whatever he called it, whatever Horse called it, that they're involved in, for me, is that outlet, is that training piece for me. It puts me in a different headspace. It enables me to just forget about, as bad as this may sound, forget about everybody else for a time, and just try and get through whatever it is that I'm getting through in that moment. If it's a hard session in particular, if it's a boring session, I can just forget about everybody else for that period of time that I'm doing that. And by doing that, I don't know whether that's like hitting a reset button for me or what, but it's been helpful for me over the years. And it's part of why I need to do some sort of movement training exercise every day. And the rest day portion of it, just, if anything, makes me cranky and not very pleasant to be around. Or makes me maybe less pleasant to be around if I haven't trained, if for some reason I've missed out on being able to get something in. So hearing this, I'm really sad as well to hear that Horse was in that state in around 2020. The COVID time, things going on with the family, the daughter not able to get employment. I feel for the brother, as anybody would for people that they know or have had a connection with. You think to yourself, man, I wonder if he reached out. Did he reach out to anyone? But isolated, alone, hard to do anything about it. Plus also a bit of, I would say, male pride as well would come into play. And I just think of myself, I've, easier said than done. But I'm always and have always been reluctant to ask anybody for help. And I've shared that in times when I've been interviewed. But it's something that I need to get better at. And also, prior to that, it's something just confronting and trying to work through those issues sooner rather than later is also something that's still a work in progress for me. But definitely have made some strides towards being better at it anyway. Anyway, we'll come back to this. We'll hear more about this in terms of part 2. Really interested to hear more about what Horse was doing, but also what he's doing now. And I'll see if I can connect with this fella in some way, shape or form. Might have to reach out to the host of this podcast and see if I can get the contact details for Horse at some stage. be good to just have a chat with him, not to do an interview, just to have a chat with him and see how he's going off camera. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you very much for your time and for your support as always. Much appreciated. And with that being said, Horse here is a good example of it in terms of the conversation, but it lines up with the message that I like to try to share at the end of every video, which is always the same, regardless of your challenges or trials or difficulties that you may be going through. Just encourage you to keep turning up, keep staying in the fight, put one foot in front of the other and take one day at a time. Be kinder to yourself, know that it's okay to not be okay, and to just reach out for help if you've got people that you know that you can trust. And I'm sure they'll be really willing and able to help you out where they can. Just know that if you want things to get better, they can, they do, and they will. But you do have to want it. I have to want it. You have to want it. Nobody else can just want it for you. And just stay consistent and disciplined with it. And know and trust that the sun will shine again, that there are better days ahead and that there is a light at the end of that tunnel. No matter how miserable, lonely, and dark it may seem right now, things can do and will get better. So just stick at it. Chip away, small steps. Things will get better, I promise you. As always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.